On.
Mic on.
Yep. Oh, well, hold up. Mic off.
Oh.
Now I can't share. Good evening. This is the Town of Rocky Hill Economic Development Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 11th at 6 PM. I love that. Okay, so first we have public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public, who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment remotely should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov prior to 4 PM on the day of the meeting, at which time a link will be provided to attend the meeting, as well as instructions on how to participate. Anybody? No? Okay, moving right along. The approval of minutes. Did everybody get the minutes to review?
Was it the January 14th?
It would have been January 14th.
All right, I'll motion to approve the minutes from January 14th.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. I wasn't here last time.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have the Middlesex Chamber Business Update.
They do have a Rocky Hill Division After Dark next week at Carbones.
That was the
from-
18th, right? Was it the 18th?
Or is it the 19th? Wednesday, the 19th, I believe,
I can't remember now.
I'll
Um,
confirm.
on my calendar.
It is on-
19th,
19th, okay.
Wednesday the 19th, 5
Um,
o'clock.
From 5 to 7, so should be a nice event.
Very nice. Nothing else from the chamber? Okay.
Yeah, we had our meeting this morning. The Economic Development Consortium meeting, we were talking about all the towns planning POCD. So I thought it was interesting that we were talking about that today, since we are going to discuss it with Kim later on. But yeah, they're very interesting meetings to go back and forth with all the representatives and what they're struggling with, and et cetera. So it's every month on this morning, the same time we have EDC, the same day we have EDC. So that's, oh, and almost forgot, there is a member breakfast on St. Patrick's Day, Monday morning, the 17th, and they're having Gino Oriema, the head women's basketball coach. So,
That one usually sells out.
That one
I
usually
think.
sells out,
Yes.
so if it
I have my
hasn't,
ticket.
then get your tickets soon.
yeah,
Okay,
that's about it.
thank you. Well, and see you again.
Okay. So I'll try to go through this quick, since Kim has a lot to say, I guess.
Not necessarily.
Okay. So I talked to the property manager, Gabby, at Kelson Row, and she gave me these updated statistics. They have 85 leases and 38 units are occupied. They have 2 more buildings supposedly going live on April 9th and 10th. That's sort of to be determined according to the building department. So fingers crossed that it actually goes through. But they're making great progress. And when I toured it, the talent is phenomenal that it took to design the apartments and the exterior. It really was impressive. It's like you're in Manhattan or something like that, not necessarily in Rocky Hill. It was super cool, and they're not even done yet. So, and then I spoke to the owner of 1930 Silestine, which is the old furniture building that's, kind of been in disrepair in recent years. They are selling. They don't have a listing yet online, at least not one that I can find. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we can get that going. Or we did have a developer interested in doing something with that building, so we shall see. And then the next point, making Rocky Hill a cultural district. And by all means, if you guys have questions, please stop me. So Cromwell, Wethersfield is a cultural district. Cromwell is a creative district. So we've been kind of playing around with, if Cromwell and Rocky Hill, or if Cromwell and Wethersfield can do these things, why can't Rocky Hill do this? So I'm trying to gather more information and kind of pool together the assets of Rocky Hill. What do we have to offer? And something that can be pushed towards creating an arts and culture movement. So that's, I guess, the brief summary of that. Make Music Day is also in the works. Alan could probably say, like, the nonprofit that's starting up, that's something that we would like to collaborate with them with. Or it's my office, Economic Development, Parks and Rec, and then the nonprofit, the Historical Society. So we've been having meetings and discussions, but it's just a matter of do we have the manpower to accomplish this, and like who's going to run it. And it's more of a freestyle. Let me backtrack for a second here. So Make Music Day is a national holiday in France, and it's where anybody can go out into the town and make music. Like, you don't have to be a musician, you don't have to be in a band necessarily, or like, anybody can go and do that. So other towns do it, where in Connecticut and nationally, where anyone can just go, if it's like outside on a street corner or in a park or at a restaurant, in a brewery, where you can grab any instrument, you can sing, and make a Make Music Day, where it's like a community orchestrated event. So I think that would also be a good point of initiating an arts and culture movement. And I think that would help with like Rocky Hill's identity. So I'm super interested. I would like to see it happen, but I also don't know. I wanted to get your input on that, and if I didn't explain anything enough, then please tell me if we should pursue it for this year. Rocky Hill. Parks and Rec is willing to help out with like their portion of opening parks. My office absolutely with like businesses, going to businesses to say, hey, would you guys mind doing like a live music from, whatever time works for you on Saturday, June 21st. That's Make Music Day. It's the first day of summer, the longest day of the year. If I walk downtown and went to these local shops to say, are you interested in this? And at the end of all that, there is a software. If you sign up for it, if you become a Connecticut chapter, there's a software that has an interactive map that's like, oh, these are all the different locations that have things going on. Like, this business is doing open mic from 2 to 5, or like this band is going down to this coffee shop, or so there's a lot involved.
Say that there was already a group that's been meeting about this?
It's not really like a group. It's sort of just like me, Craig, Historical Society, and is that it? I think it's the three of us sort of working together.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I just think it needs a little bit more organization.
Absolutely. So, and that's
Give people an idea of what it
part
really
of
is.
right.
Yeah.
Part of what that is like there's really no structure to it. It's whatever you want it to be.
I
And
need
you're sort of
structure.
like freestyle. Yeah, I like structure. So it's interesting to say like, okay, we can make this event to be whatever we want it to be, but then it's
Well, I mean, there are some businesses in town who do live music, on regular basis anyway. So it'd
Right.
be nice to be able to tie them into this date
Yeah,
and
that's-
use it as
right.
a map just to help them
That's
get
what I
to
was
the
thinking.
additional.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know.
The artists could come from anywhere, not just Rocky Hill.
Yeah, if it's literally just like people can come and make music, and you can be anybody, and you can do anything, and
Pretty
like
sure no one wants to hear me sing.
we.
But
No, I know.
You can, play,
Maybe you, me, and
maybe this is my
play harmonica or
opportunity.
something,
Yeah.
you, me,
Yeah.
and Alan.
kazoos.
So, and if you become a Connecticut chapter, there's a fee. If you become a Connecticut chapter, they make music day, the people that kind of talk to you about how to do it, whatever, they partner with national manufacturers that manufacture instruments, and they literally send you like harmonicas, like boom whackers for free.
Are there other towns in Connecticut that are doing this? Do you know?
Yes.
There's a few. I know that Middletown does it, and I was getting information from, what is her name?
So I went to
Michael.
I just went to the website. So it's a lot of the metropolitan or I don't know, metros. So Bridgeport, Bristol, Danbury, Fairfield, Hartford, Hebron, Middletown, New Canaan, New Haven, Norwalk, Ridgefield. There's like, just under 20. And some of them are just combined. So there's just Northwest CT. And there's
That
some
sounds
smaller
fun.
towns and stuff. I just look at it as we just need somebody to run it, I mean, it would be as little as get all the venues that we have in town. We really only have probably 2 or 3 that regularly have live music, right?
Right, but some of the other ones might want to do it for that day,
Yeah.
too.
So we would get all the venues to say, hey, make sure today is a day that you have live music. What day of the week does it fall on?
The Saturday.
Perfect. So make sure this is a day that you have live music. But we really, I think the idea of it is not that you're gonna just, people that are already doing music, do it, you're promoting that. It seems like it's more, having people on the busking on the street or whatever, and you don't need a permit to perform on that day. Like if you perform on a
that's what
street
was
corner
my
in some
question.
cities,
Do
you
you
need to
need a
have
permit?
you need like a busking permit to like play guitar on the corner of the street in cities, sometimes you have that. So, but to organize all that, somebody has to do it.
And get it out there. right.
And that should be like a musician,
Yeah. So that's
it's hard to organize.
I think it's a great
But the
idea.
cost isn't that much. It's like a few $100 or something,
Yeah,
right?
it's
It's like
$350.
$350 or
so
something
it's
like
really
that.
not a lot, but it's not even like
But the time putting into
Right.
organizing and
Yeah.
promoting it and getting the musicians and making sure people are aware. The town can make sure people are aware of it.
Does the promotion come from the site that we join? This
There's
organization?
probably a little bit of it, but it's really,
With a
it,
map?
it looks like they give you like a toolkit. They say, here's all the things you can use to promote it in your town.
right. They do
And it's kinda up to
give
you
you a toolkit, and they do give you like a logo to use. You don't have to use their logo. You can use your own town logo, and some other promotional materials.
Yeah, there's all kinds of like
So
social media templates,
yeah, and then
but somebody still has
and then
to
that
do that.
software that I mentioned.
Yeah.
The software is you keep track of who signs up to play or the businesses that sign up to be a space.
Yeah.
So there's that interactive map that shows you all over town. This is what, where, when. But yeah, it sounds great, and I'm super excited. But it's also like who's going to. And I wouldn't mind doing it. I think that's. But then I'm like, do I have the time, like being part-time? So I'm
Yeah,
like,
do
do we
you have the
push it off to
bandwidth
next
for it?
year? Or
Yeah.
like, it's,
Can't we run this through Parks and Rec? Like Parks and Rec does a lot of.
that's what I had asked, and they're super tied up in June, and they're doing a new event in June. So it's like, and then I asked Historical Society, and they also have another event in June that they're pretty much tied up on. So,
Oh.
yeah,
But
I
mean,
just,
even if we pushed it off for a year, could it be kind of,
I think with enough planning, we could figure out by next June
right,
yeah. I think so.
deputize somebody to run with it.
Yeah.
But I
just-
think
I
it's
wanted
probably
to
gonna be a
get-
little tight.
Yeah, your
this year.
input about what you guys thought about that event.
Great idea.
I think it's a great idea. I think just right now, what are we, like 90 days out?
Right, I think it's just not for this year.
I'd like to, I know
Sign
I'm.
up? You wanna be
Well,
guest?
You're
yes, I would
gonna
sign up.
have
I
you
would-
organize
I
the
would sign
concert
up to
before?
help.
What's your instrument?
I would sign up.
Harmonica?
Harmonica?
It ties in with what we're doing with the Plan of Conservation Development, with an arts council and things like that, and reaching out to the high school and the middle school, trying to get the kids involved as well, because we know that there's a lot of talented people at that level
Yeah.
in town. We also have talented band leaders in town, and working with the Board of Ed, I think, would be a big plus also on that. I know when we talked about art council, I was talking about, there's a specific art
That would
teacher
tie
at the
in
high
really
school
well.
that really,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I would say it sounds like you have the Economic Development Commission's support to find somebody to run with that.
Okay, all right.
We all,
Would it help if we just take what you just said, and maybe just put it like pen to paper, so that we can at least review at a high level? I don't disagree with the idea, I think it is a great idea, but I think we need some structure in the sense of what we're trying to articulate, right? Because there may be other risks that we're not bringing up to the table, such as, just organizing, the venue, right? There may be a ton of people, right? Do we need police presence? Do we
I
need?
think if we had a lot of people, that would be a really good problem
That would
to
be a great
have.
problem.
But I don't think we're having
It's really
Rocky
not
Hill
one-
Palooza.
Yeah, it's not really one venue, right? It's spread out.
Right, it's not
around.
supposed to be.
It's kind of like something that happens like all across town in little
Like,
pockets.
You get a
kind of
basket of
thing.
harmonicas to
Right.
hand out in one spot, you get a
Yeah.
basket.
So, and that's like what Parks and Rec was saying. They were like, oh, if we can centralize it to one location, we kind of do stuff like that anyways. Like, that sounds great. Like, the ideas are rolling, but then it doesn't count. Like, if it's just one area, one certain location, it doesn't count. Make Music Day is supposed to be like all over town.
Throughout the town.
Different events.
Yeah, it's supposed to be all day,
Yeah,
kind of
all
around
day,
town, there's
everywhere.
stuff going on.
Well, I
so.
can sign Hayes Farm up for the cowbell.
Sounds
Get
good.
extra cowbells.
Okay, so does anyone else have questions? I mean, I think,
No, I think that's a great,
okay,
I'd never heard of it, so I think it
yes,
sounds fun.
great. I will
I'll go to
keep you
Middletown this
posted
year.
about
See
where
what
we
it looks
go
like.
from there. And then moving on, I met and Ray met and you were there, right? Yeah, Kim met and Steve with the executive director of the Municipal Redevelopment Association. They're a brand new group. I guess they don't have a website yet, so there's really not a lot to research. But they are looking to create a zone within like downtown Rocky Hill to assist with housing. Is there a part, is that like the main, do you think the main,
to assist with housing, mixed-use development.
yeah, development, transportation? They focus on areas of town where there's a lot of transportation, a more structured like downtown. So we are looking to create that district, and it should be talked about at the next town council. So the benefits of doing this would be obviously to create more housing and to make it more lively, the downtown, like
Yeah,
to
a
get
more,
rid of
a more
lights.
walkable,
Yeah.
mixed-use area. And we're talking about, and it ties into the Plan of Conservation and Development also, about taking the area in which we sit now, which is the Town Center zoning district. We want to technically expand it northward along Silestine Highway. There's a bus route that runs along Silestine Highway. There's a bus route that runs down along Old Main Street as well, down towards Middletown. So we want to extend it that way as well, from Parsonage Street south along Old Main Street, and then down to the river. Glastonbury Avenue, definitely, we're debating on Riverview right now. and have that be more of a mixed-use walkable area.
But, so, this is Municipal Redevelopment Association, is this like a statewide group that goes to multiple towns and does this? Or are you saying there's specifically some people in Rocky Hill that have come together to do this?
No,
What do
this
you
is
mean?
a state agency appointed,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and the executive director was appointed in July of 2024.
Is this?
The board of directors was appointed last year, so they're at ground zero.
Oh, is this that one gentleman, I can't remember his name, that's in charge of
David
that?
Curris? David Curris
No.
is his name.
Okay, well,
Yeah, he was
so I'm thinking of a
appointed-
different person then.
He was appointed in July.
Okay.
We had met with him. They're talking about grant opportunities. They're talking about, transit-oriented development programs, assistance, technical assistance, for municipalities. Any of the municipalities involved, they cannot be immediately abutting Hartford. That was one of the things. So Weathersfield's out. Bloomfield's out, all the surrounding towns too.
7 of them. But
yeah.
then all the other towns, it's like 161 towns are eligible, can do this.
Okay.
So, and then this was brought to our attention by Carrie Wood, so she connected us.
Yeah, and it's an opt-in program, so we would, by resolution, the town would have to opt in, but there's no obligation to participate.
Is there a negative to opting in?
You just opt in, you don't have to participate if you don't want to, but if you opt in, you may have these resources at your fingertips, and you may have some assistance or whatever, but you have to ask for it, obviously. You have to have a plan, you have to ask for it. If you choose to opt in and not do anything, that's fine. I don't see any negative for not opting
Like
in.
there are any?
So there should be some sort of update, like in 2 weeks after, when the town council meets. I know Ray is going to present this to them, so.
Nice.
Yeah, look, I mean, it looks like they just started
You said
having
there was
people
no-
join it. So
Oh,
like
found one.
Naugatuck was like the
That's
first,
what he said like 2 weeks ago. He didn't have a business card either, 'cause they're like brand
No
new,
business cards,
so-
yeah.
so like Naugatuck just joined in February, 7 days ago Norwich joined, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Very interesting.
stay
We could
tuned.
use that help.
All right, I will move on to the last update. Ray and I have been meeting with a couple professors from Southern about students working on Rocky Hill projects. So the 3 projects that were presented, establishing an arts and culture movement, business directory, and Business Park 2, like revitalizing what's the best usage of Business Park 2. So, yeah, it's listed there. So they were thinking about creating a class for students. It's not sure yet if these are undergrad students, grad students. It would start in the fall, and they would sort of tackle, they have, the School of Business would maybe handle one thing, the School of Arts would handle the other part, and the students would sort of like separate into groups and then do a presentation about and this isn't set in stone, we haven't finalized it, but it is in talks of happening. So how could the arts students, what would they do to initiate an arts and culture movement? The business students, what would they do to create a business directory? What's the best usage of Business Park 2? So,
Let's
and
go
they,
back to that business directory.
yeah.
Let's get that wrapped up.
Yeah.
So, and I think it would be, they would collect their data, like if they would come to Rocky Hill and collect their data, or like if they need help from me or Ray, they could kind of correspond. So again, that's to be determined. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know for sure if it's gonna happen, but it's a thought, and to see a different perspective. I would love to see them do it and then go to their like final presentation class and watch the students give a presentation to be like, this is what we think you should do with Business Park or whatever, so. Yeah, that's.
I'd like to see them put together a business directory.
I know.
And then
But
give a
there's some-
presentation on
Bet you
it.
they're very creative.
What they had mentioned too is like there's some
Yeah.
tech savvy IT
Right.
major students who might know something that we would never think of because like, you know, that they have so much more knowledge about how to get stuff like that done. Like if we could see their perspective, and obviously I would like for there to be progress on that before fall starts. But in case we're not as far along as we thought or whatever, to just get their input, I guess. And again, this was Lisa connected us to the Southern professors, so. Yeah, just an opportunity that we're considering, so.
Great.
That's about it, unless anyone has questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're up, Kim.
Oh, well, I just wanted to, everything you were talking about the connection with Southern State University. One of my things on our POC day was creating a program with State of Connecticut College System where classes work with the towns. That was one of the ideas that we heard from somebody. We had years ago UConn with Dwight Merriam as one of their professors. UConn Law School came in and actually worked with planning and zoning years ago on some things, which was kind of nice. They took the concerns of planning and zoning and brought it back to their class, and there was a class surrounding Rocky Hill and land use law. So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And they solicited from us. We didn't go out to them, but it would be nice if we go out to them. We're working with UConn on the community farm, and that's kind of a neat collaboration. It helps the kids, it gives us ideas maybe that we didn't think of, so there's ways to do that. But I digress. Sorry.
No, thank you for your input. Thank you.
Okay,
Pass
so
these
our
down.
POCD update.
Just pass those down. There's going to be probably some changes on this questionnaire, but every 10 years, the Planning and Zoning Commission is obligated under state statute to update what's called the Plan of Conservation and Development. It's a guide for the community. Do we have one for Daniel? Did you want one also?
I'll get one after you.
Okay, I'll save you one. And there are certain things that we require in the Plan of Conservation Development. I have a copy here, and it is on our homepage. The Plan of Conservation Development is on our homepage, so if you go to the town website, scroll down on the left side, it's the next to the last document on the homepage, that you can take a look at it there. Or if you'd like, if you email me, I gave you my cards, you can certainly shoot me an email, and I can send you an electronic copy if you want that. I would welcome everyone to take a look at it, because we want as much input as we can get. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, this Plan of Conservation Development is going to be in crunch mode. And I know Alan's heard this before by attending a planning and zoning meeting, and we did talk about it at our affordable housing meeting last week. So it is due to go to Office of Policy and Management on or before June 18th. Okay, we had gone out with an RFP to have the document updated. We did have some funds allotted to us when we sent out 5 RFPs. The responses that we received from people when they did not submit was that the funding was inadequate. So we said, okay, so we're doing it in-house. I say we, here I am. That said, the idea for the plan is we'd like to concentrate on people, places, and programs. I thought that was kind of a catchy idea. Obviously, the standard information that we typically get is development strategies, conservation strategies. That's what we're looking for, but we're also thinking beyond that. We're thinking beyond that. People, are we trying to concentrate on certain groups of people? Are there certain groups of people in town that we need to concentrate on? Keep in mind, we're an aging population. That's a given. Rocky Hill is older, and I don't have those stats with me, but because that's more of a planning and zoning type meeting, but we are an aging population, and we have an untapped resources, and I keep concentrating on this, our high school and our middle school, because that's our future. Our future are the kids in town and young folks wanting to come here. So do we want to concentrate some on that also? What about real estate for these people? What about housing choices for these people? Places. When we talk about places, we're talking about sense of place. How do we identify ourselves? You heard Alondra talk about programs that help create an identity for the town. I know that we have a new logo now. Before we had the Minerva, the ship that's on the former town seal in back of you. We now have the Make New History here. And we have a lot of historical resources. So what about historic places in town? What about our parks? What about our schools? Programs. Once again, we're an aging population. Programs for our seniors, programs for middle age, programs for kids. What about a human services department? Are there needs for mental health programs in town? In my other life with EMS, I see a lot of need that way. So we'd like to branch out and go beyond just the planning and development, though that's what's required by statute. So we're going to concentrate on that, but we'd like you to kind of think outside the box a little bit on what you want to see happen in Rocky Hill. And we've developed a survey, and I've passed it out to you. We're going to have our IT department, I talked to John Murphy, who's going to be putting this online and making it a fillable form to get this online. But it talks about different things as far as what may be important to you, and we're looking for an age demographic, no names. Do you live in town? Do you work in town? Because that does make a difference, believe it or
So I
not.
can fill this out if I want to?
You can fill it out if you want to, yes. I would like everyone to fill it out. I want something attached to our signatures at the town hall so we can, every time we send an email, it goes out to people too. I would like it, to get out there. Some of the things that this board may be interested in, and I know you all live in town, so you can take off your economic development hat and answer other things as well, okay? But, your board specifically, should the town seek out specialty and complementary businesses to that which we already have? I don't know, that may be something,
Yes.
want to talk about. We would encourage you folks to come to a planning and zoning meeting.
Businesses.
Yeah, we would encourage you folks to come to a planning and zoning meeting and discuss economic development concerns or discuss other concerns or wants or needs that you feel the town of Rocky Hill has. We have a special meeting coming up tomorrow at 6:30. It will be on our March 19th agenda, which is a regular meeting, but we have other items on that agenda, so we'll discuss it at the end of the meeting. And then we will also have a special meeting at the last Wednesday of the month as well. But, so we talk in the survey also, are public spaces, do you want more public spaces for public events? Is that important to you? Through the years, the Plan of Conservation and Development has had a connection from the Silas Deane Highway to our municipal campus area, like a one-way connection from Silas Deane through to the municipal campus, creating some public spaces. That hasn't happened as of yet. That's been in the last two documents. You see where Church Street couple years ago was cut off, and it creates a little area, a little seating area and landscape area. That was in a 1949 plan of development for the town of Rocky Hill. So things do happen, as they may happen slowly, but I was very pleased.
Just took
I was
50
very-
years.
I was very pleased that happened. That was in 1949. That was in the 1949 plan, and it finally happened.
A lot of people upset in the
I wasn't around in 1949, but it was nice to know that some things do happen. So when we talk about the culture, the arts and culture movement, that is something that we've talked about before, that we'd like to put in our POCD.
So exactly what are we looking for with that? Like theaters or like?
Well, we have the Human Services Department has actually created, and they've had their first meeting of the I think it's Hill House Players. I think that's called, I apologize if I got that name wrong, but Crystal, who works in youth services, I believe, she put together a Facebook ad about interested in community theater, because we had a community theater in Rocky Hill. Years ago, I was involved in it when I was a teenager. And then we had Liz Daigle, who was instrumental in doing a community theater. Now, we haven't had that for a while now. Crystal expected maybe 10 people to a dozen people to show up. I was in the room, there were 55 people there.
Wow.
55 people, and there on Facebook, there is an ad. They have a play going to be, they're rehearsing now, and they're going to have auditions, and the play will be performed in June, I believe, June or July. So there's interest. There's interest out there, and Weathersfield has an arts council through fine art, more fine art type thing, and they do a lot of events also. Different venues, they have, walking tours or whatever of the historical area. And I have a friend who's on the Art Council in Weathersfield, Jane Zisk, and she paints. And they have,
Yeah.
different stops along the way.
Even if we
so.
had like murals on the Silestine to just spruce it up a little bit, make it look a little bit more appealing, I think that would be great, and have more structures or like blurbs, like sign blurbs about like artists in the area, something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot that we're talking about here. We also talked about mixed-use development along Celestine Highway. There is a need for what we call middle housing, which is like duplexes to like 10 units together, whether it be combined with a commercial use or just by itself, or with infill development particularly along Celestine Highway. But that's something that, that may be something that the town wishes to look at. Trail system, agritourism. I know it's big in other communities. We see it in some of the farms here. And farming is big here. We want to continue that. So we would like your input. The survey, as I said, will be going online. We welcome you to come to planning and zoning meetings. I can certainly have agendas sent to Orlando so she can forward them on to you.
Sure.
And you can either come as a group or come as residents of the town. We would love to have you participate.
And it's in person only, right? No hybrid option?
Always a hybrid option.
Oh, okay.
As long as we meet in this space. We either have to meet in this space or room 1C in the community center, and we try to get this space as much as we can.
Okay.
So.
Great.
This is great.
I would just say, it looks like you may have taken some of my recommendations from our last meeting where we talked about this.
Strongly agree.
To the terms of, strongly agree, neutral, et cetera, instead of just, because everybody's going to say yes for everything, but
Yeah.
prioritizing
we're
things. Well,
changing-
maybe not
changing a
everything,
bunch of things,
but,
so.
I think that's going to be super helpful, because everybody kind of wants, in talking with the people from planning and zoning, they really wanted questions that would have clearly defined answers, not just open-ended. But when you just ask yes or no, it's hard to gauge like which is more of a priority for people, you know. And this, I think that helps out a lot.
And I do think emails, if you don't feel like coming to a meeting, send me an email. I give you my card. Feel free. Send me an email with your thoughts. It will all be part of the public record. We're trying, as I said, this is crunch time. We will be having a hearing in early June on a document. We as the commission, and while I'm not on the commission, I assist the commission. We all have like an electronic working document that we work off of, trying to update as we go. But when we get ideas, we'll discuss them at the commission level. We'll be going to the town council to talk about it also, and other boards and commissions. Have any questions? If you don't want to ask now, you can give me a call.
So, yeah, no, the only question I had, and I think you had already answered it, so this will be on the town website so residents can go on and complete it if they want to, or?
Yeah, I just sent it over to John Murphy today, and he was going to put it in a fillable form and get it on the town website and social media and
Oh,
whatever.
great,
Yeah.
okay.
John is amazing. He really is.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else?
No, great, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other business to discuss?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I just wanted to talk about a recent visit. I did a business visitation, more or less, talking to a business up on Cromwell Avenue. Noble Nails was the business. She's up on Cromwell Avenue next to New York Pickle Deli. The business was here 13 years. She has very good things to say about Rocky Hill. She's very pleased to be here. Her business has expanded. It's really grown over the 13 years. She really loves being in the town so much. She sold her house in Weathersfield, I think, I want to say 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, and bought a house in Rocky Hill and decided Rocky Hill was going to be her home.
Did you buy it from Dawn?
Did she buy it from you?
I think.
So she is a Rocky Hill resident as well, and a small business owner, family-owned business. Again, 13 years here, has really good things to say about Rocky Hill. She recently had a little wrinkle and is expanding again because her business is kind of growing. And she's got 7 pedicure chairs in there. And she decided I needed 2 more chairs. So she went to the town, pulled her permits for plumbing and electrical for the extra chairs. And of course, you know, the inspection was done just days ago. And she was a little disappointed because the inspector asked her to put a whole ventilation system in for her salon. And she was a little beside herself because she doesn't own the building, so she's got to deal with the owner. A ventilation system because she asked for 2 additional chairs, which was never required of her for 13 years. So she voiced that concern to me, and I really hope that we as a town, I'd hate to see her pick up and leave Rocky Hill. I mean, she's really upset about it because a ventilation system is very costly.
Would you mind if could I? Okay. I work, I am not in charge of the building department. Steve Sopolak is, as the Director of Community Development Services. I know I heard some buzz in the office about this because of where I sit in the office.
Yeah.
I would ask somebody to, I mean, if you wanted to reach out to me, I can transfer over to the correct people. I know that codes have changed over time, and that may be the answer. I don't know if it is, but if you want to call me, or I can write the building official's number on the back of the card I gave you, that you can direct them to contact him.
Oh, Well, here's the problem. She doesn't have a total command of the English language, so she was asking me to look at her inspection report, which didn't have anything in it, really. The only thing pointed out was that you need to put a ventilation system in. So I guess, I don't know, you know, I mean, if I go to the building, I don't know, you know, as an advocate for her, but kind of looking to grandfather her in. I mean, she's just added 2 chairs. I
Okay.
just don't
Well,
understand.
I'm not familiar with the code,
Yeah.
but I can give you,
And I understand codes.
The
but
building
business
official's
has been there
number.
13 years, and they've never required a ventilation system, and because she asked for 2 additional chairs, it's
It's-
really putting
yeah.
her over, you know, and putting her in a hard spot, because it's costly.
And it's not her building.
And it's not her
Right.
building.
I wonder if we can get a meeting just to clarify anything of yourself
Right.
and maybe Steve and a building official, and I can also go, and if Kim wants to go.
We could work it
And
out
see,
somehow.
like, just to lay
Your free
everything
time,
out,
Kim.
Yeah.
so there's no confusion, and so everyone
I
understands
believe
the
the
process.
building has a new owner too, right?
I
That
believe
whole
that one
process.
Yes.
was
I don't know.
fairly
Yes.
new.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I-
not new, like, not brand new, but
Yeah.
within 6
I don't know
months
how
or something.
reachable the owner
Few years?
could be, but we could maybe invite
Few
the
months.
owner
you
too.
want to give that to Kathy?
I'm
I
not
mean, I'm sure the
but-
owner is
Pass
not
it
going to be
down.
willing to actually
Well,
put
cut
the
a-
I know,
ventilation
the,
system in
right,
for
the
cut a
her.
hole
cost
in
of
his
that, I'm
Or
sure.
does he
So-
want to cut a hole in his roof and
Yeah,
put it,
usually
you
not.
know, I don't know.
Right,
I would,
there's-
I would just hope, like, you know, I was at a meeting with another town's like code enforcement people, and they were talking about how their process works and everything too. And it all makes sense, and there's reasons for things for safety and all of that stuff. And this is what I've, you know, expressed to anybody that'll listen, is I just hope as a town we have the stance of, okay, like, let's find a way to make this work. You know, whether there's a way to grandfather somebody in,
I don't know. Yeah,
whether
right.
there's, you know, a situation where they might not have to do that because of XYZ.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not an engineer.
Right.
But I would just hope that the town would have the stance of, yes, now let's find a way to make it work. Not just, these are the rules and you're stuck to it.
Exactly.
And
That's what I'm
you
kind of
figure it
looking
out
for.
between yourself and the, you know, between the building owner and the business owner. You guys figure it out, and my way or the highway,
Right,
I would hope.
Right, we just want the town to be able to work with the business owners.
with the businesses,
Yeah.
especially good
things happen.
businesses that are, you know,
Right.
have longevity here. People have picked up their families and moved to the town because they really like the town. And, you know, we're giving her a hard time for 2 chairs that was never required. And I get building codes change, I get all that, but still.
We just got to stay creative about finding a way to make it work.
Right, right.
So I can follow up with that
I just
this
did.
week.
Are they,
Oh, Kim's on top of it already?
are they,
Oh.
are they forcing her to put in that now in retrospect, or is it
I don't
just
even know
only
if,
if you add the 2 chairs?
pardon me?
Is it
Well,
only,
that's a good question.
is it only if you add the 2 chairs?
Well, they're
Or
already
is it-
added. The inspector came in to inspect the plumbing and the electrical.
Oh, to give the final, to close the permit,
Close the permit out
and then he
and
pulled it.
said,
Oh.
oh, but now you need a ventilation system.
The 2 chairs are there already?
Yes.
But she pulled the,
Oh,
but she pulled the
oh.
permit ahead of time, so he was going in to close that permit out for the,
Right.
So,
so he knew they were going in.
Yeah, that's,
yeah, that's,
So
that's-
that's,
you'd have to talk to the building department
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Interesting. But to that point also, I was just going to ask, you know, where are we at with
Visitations.
visitations? Again.
So I've been trying to reach out to businesses via email, and it's just not working via email. They really just don't respond at all,
Yeah,
which is
because you might have to put in a
disappointing, so-
ventilation system if somebody from the
Yeah, I
city
know.
comes.
They see the town of Rocky Hill and they get scared and don't answer.
Oh, God, is it
So-
the assessor?
Yeah,
I know, my taxes going up.
quick, hide
They're
your
gonna renovate
chairs.
my building.
So I definitely, it's like, we got to pick up on these visitations, and I'm just gonna go in person real quick to like introduce myself, especially now that the weather's getting nicer and it's more walkable to be outside. It's better to be outside, or like go for a drive real quick, to just pop in real quick. Hey, here's my business card. Would you be interested in doing a visitation at some point? Because I don't, and even with calling, like they may not, or like I've talked to people, I've called and they're like, oh yeah, our manager will give you a call back.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
do that.
no. Well,
So-
you know, hopefully they're busy.
It's
too.
tough,
So-
right? So it is tough to get a response. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So I sort of view it where like, I'm just gonna have to go in person, make myself known.
That's kind of what
and-
I've been doing, though, as I visit different merchants in town. You know, I kind of talk to them, and that's how this happened, you know.
Oh,
and-
okay.
Exactly. So I try to do a lot of business in town. Matter of fact, I went up to Hayes Farm and bought my dozen eggs.
Remember when you brought your grandkids?
Yeah. I didn't know the farm opened at 3, and it was like I was there at noon for my grandchildren to look at goats. But they were so kind, again, there you go, you know, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
we take 10 minutes of your time, and, you know, her husband came down, and of course, you know, look
Yeah,
at the goats
that's
and
the
look at
best
the cows,
interaction.
and,
Yeah.
you know,
So to do that,
but I do that a lot with businesses in
I think
town.
it's important to,
And
yeah.
I want to connect, you know?
Right.
And, you know, when I hear of a little wrinkle, I think, oh, God, you know, why are we doing this?
Years ago, I think this might have even been before Ray as EDC person. They had a forum at the Sheraton where businesses came out, and it wasn't necessarily comfortable for the enforcement folks, being one of the enforcement folks in
Yeah.
town, but it was effective, I thought. Because businesses were invited to talk about issues they had with the town, things they liked, things they didn't like. And we weren't offended by it. We were asked questions. If we didn't know the answer, we got back to them or had to do some research or whatever, got back to them. But I don't know
So there was
how.
follow-up? I guess that was my
Yeah.
question. It's
Some,
nice
some
to-
things, some things were like, well, I don't like the way this business looks, while others were like, you know, I don't know why I can't have a sign of this size.
Yeah.
You know, and it could have been a regulation, or it could have been they needed a zoning variance, or, you know, well, how come these people get this, and how come I don't
Yeah.
have, you know, so.
How come they can put mulch in their parking lot?
You
and I
know,
can't?
so it, you know, it was things like that, but it also went to like what you're talking about. Why do I need a ventilation system versus I don't, or what triggers that? Is it a health code? Is it, you know?
Right.
So it was that type of thing. Or how do we make this known? What about garbage pickup? What about recycling? When is, you know, when is that? So I don't know if that's something that may get the word out about
Yeah.
business visitation. If you put something together, we can put it in our POCD, we can announce things at other meetings.
It's a good idea. Yeah, some form of communication like that.
Yeah.
Or if there's some little blurb we can attach to our signatures
Yeah,
when we
I
send
like-
things out to businesses.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
got a gripe.
I don't know, well, I mean, I hear that I hear
Call
them
us
all the
up.
time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't mind hearing them because I don't,
Wanna
if you
put it
don't,
on the
if you
sign?
don't tell us, I don't
Yeah,
know,
we're not
you
gonna
know?
know.
We don't
Yeah.
know.
Can we? Yeah, we'll do an event, you know, with like a dunk tank or something.
I'd be wet all
The zone-
day.
No,
Less-
you know, the enforcement officer with the dunk tank.
It's okay, I don't
There we
mind.
go.
Yeah, we'll put Ben in there.
And maybe, you know, Alana, maybe when you call these businesses, they might be a little more standoffish because they think that's what we're doing. And opposed to, how are you? You know,
Yeah.
how's business going? You know, how can the town help you? I think
Daniel had some good
Alan
luck.
and I actually went into a business, and that's how we start. How could we help you, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we had a
just-
great once we got in the door,
Right. We had
It's
a
very-
good visit,
Right,
great.
it's usually.
you know.
great dialogue just about, you know, what's your experience been, what are your challenges, what are your, you know, what would make you have to move.
Yeah.
What?
Well, don't put that in
just-
somebody's.
Well, it's
No,
not.
it's just
We
a
would
risk.
ask them,
It's
you know, are
like-
you looking at expanding your
Yeah, it's
business? Do
are you
have the
expanding
room?
or are you
thinking
struggling?
of,
It's
are you struggling to get things, maybe we can make the connection to how to do things. So,
because once again, everybody's so busy
right,
that there's probably any number of things that if we just heard everybody's gripes, we could probably fix half of them just by a simple make a connection between a couple people, you know?
yeah. So, anyway, that was my last experience with the business. So I'm hoping we can resolve her issue somehow without, costing a whole ventilation system to the business.
I think they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
We'll follow up on it.
Yeah.
I have faith. Anything else?
And that's it for me.
No?
Okay, so that's
All I
it.
got.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I motion to observe, or second,
Oh, that doesn't,
or,
Somebody make the motion.
oh, okay.
to adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Night, folks.